today with the focus more on the tolerance and 3D experience, but we defined perceived quality also as a topic of color and trim. Perceived quality is about the look, the feel, and the touch, basically. Yeah. So everything is very important for you as a customer to experience your product. So basically, there is 3D experience opened up, and we have here already the 3DCS variation analyst for V6 integrated opened here. So you have the complete model here. We have used a gear shifter from our own model called the Blue, and we use that for a perceived quality review here on the top. So let's build that up. And now, as you can see, I already applied some materials on the gear shifter. So let's have a look at here and reframe on these materials to show you the materials itself. Basically, we have here a metal. You see, we have reflections. If we get a bit closer, I will wait a second, and maybe you can already see here that there's a small texture applied, which should be visualizing a kind of a plastic. So let's zoom out a bit, zoom into this gap, because we are now facing today this gap here. And as I just explained, from the designer's perspective, so from the workflow, the designers is normally going into that and is designing the model itself, and then is going into the into some parts where he wants to define the original gap. So therefore, he provided some spec studies. Okay, good. We have here the nominal state. So this is what the designer is, how the designer was designing it. And the designer says, okay, first of all, he wants to have a maximum gap distance between the screen and the middle part here. So first of all, this should be looking like this. This is not a big gap, but of course he wants to have that. And as you just imagined, you just saw, we still have the materials applied, and I can still work on DCS stuff. So if we are now looking, for example, on another example, the minimum flush, and apply that, you really see, okay, this is what he says, okay, this is that from the flush perspective, is that what he's minimum expecting, or what this is the minimum value he wants to have. And on the other side, you have the maximum. I'm sorry, here I apply the maximum, and then we can see that. Now this is already really cool, but DCS and provided us a really cool solution now. So if I'm closing that for a second and select spec studies, I want to show you the spec study viewer. And now with the spec study viewer, I have opened here a small navigation window, let's say, and I can directly, with a point of a double click, change to CATIA Live Rendering. So now I'm in CATIA Live Rendering, and with CATIA Live Rendering, I'm able to click on this button here, which allows me then to switch on the ray tracing. And within the ray tracing, you see now the correct shadowing. As you can see here now, the gap has now a really crisp shadow and the correct behavior of a shadow. And within that, I can now switch on the max gaps distance. And within a second, I see the distance has changed. So I can still use all the input from DCS and evaluate directly in my 3D scene the spec studies.